Welcome back to another episode of Street Mind Dialogues. I'm your host, Saiku. Today, we're diving headfirst into one of the most divisive and emotionally charged topics of our time, COVID-19, its origin, its purpose, and the government's role in shaping what we know, or think we know. With me is someone who stood at the crossroads of science and suspicion. Someone who isn't afraid to challenge the narrative, but also doesn't get swept away in online hysteria. Dr. Zahara Lords, epidemiologist, truth seeker. Welcome, Doctor.
Thanks, Saiku. I'm glad to be here. It's not every day you get to speak freely in this type of space.
That's exactly why we created it. Let's get straight to it. The origin of COVID-19. Lab leak, zoonotic jump, bioweapon, or something else entirely? What's the theory that you find most credible?
I've studied outbreaks for 20 years. Initially, like most experts, I leaned toward natural zoonotic transfer, bat to human, via some intermediary species. But as documents began to leak, as funding trails were uncovered, and as the Wuhan Institute of Virology came under scrutiny, I had to reconsider. We now have credible evidence that gain-of-function research was being conducted on coronaviruses, experiments designed to make them more transmissible to humans. That's not conspiracy. That's NIH funding data.
You're saying it could have been engineered?
Possibly. Not necessarily with malicious intent, but possibly through negligence. The line between science and hubris is thin.
Now to the streets. I've walked through the Bronx Union Square, downtown Brooklyn, and the same questions echo. Was the government using COVID as a tool to control us?
That's where nuance is critical. Governments do respond to crises with restrictions. That's standard. But the question is, were some of those responses excessive, inconsistent, or politically motivated? I'd say yes.
What about vaccine mandates? Some folks felt like they were being coerced into putting something foreign into their body. You had to show a QR code just to get a sandwich.
Mandates opened a dangerous door. Public health should be based on trust, not force. Once you lose that trust, conspiracy thrives. People start asking, why are they pushing this so hard? What's in it for them? And you can't dismiss that.
Let's talk media, censorship, shadow bans, misinformation labels. YouTube pulled entire videos down if people questioned vaccine efficacy. So, who decides what's misinformation?
Exactly. That's the dangerous paradox. In the name of protecting the public, big tech acted as judge, jury, and executioner of scientific discourse. Early on, people were banned for saying COVID might be airborne, and months later, the CDC admitted it was. Were those early voices conspiracy theorists? No. They were ahead of the curve.
Feels like we've been gaslit. Like, you're crazy until we say you're not.
Exactly. And the algorithm decides who gets heard. And once public conversation gets filtered by corporate profit and political motives, the truth becomes a casualty.
When I talked to folks outside Kings County Hospital, one guy told me, COVID was a test run. They wanted to see how far we'd comply. You've heard this too. What's your take?
That's not an irrational fear. The pandemic revealed just how programmable societies can become under stress. Curfews, surveillance apps, travel bans, all normalized. If a more authoritarian regime were to rise in the future, COVID protocols offer a ready-made template for control. That's not science fiction. That's historical pattern.
All right, truth bombs aside, where does this leave us? Is there a way back to trust? Or is that broken?
We rebuild it with transparency, humility, and admitting what we got wrong. That's how science grows, not by silencing dissent, but by welcoming hard questions. We can't shame people for doubting. Doubt is a form of intelligence. But we also have to differentiate between critical thinking and paranoid spiraling.
So it's not about telling people what to think, but how to think.
Exactly.
You've dropped real knowledge, Doctor. Before we wrap, final message to those still wondering if we've been played?
Stay skeptical, but stay grounded. Ask who benefits, follow the money, and always check the data. The truth might be stranger than fiction, but it's rarely as neat as a hashtag.
Truth is messy. That's why we talk. That's it for this episode of Street Mind Dialogues. If this sparked something in you, share it. Talk about it. Don't settle for easy answers. Until next time, keep your mind sharp, your heart open, and your eyes on the shadows.